All right, we're back. HSC Podcast 155 with weekly movie reviews. And this week, a good week for Nicolas Cage movies. I like the choosing the actor. This was actually a fun for me to just choose an actor and pick some movies that we liked from this, or movies. To be honest with you, two of them I haven't even seen until now.
I just picked, that's why I picked mine because I knew I loved it, but I had no, you probably haven't, and Wes hadn't seen it.
Yeah. So that was great. But also, when I pulled up Nicolas Cage on my Plex, 101 movies. 101 movies. That's crazy.
Yeah. And half of them are pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're great. I'm just saying that number was very perplexing. Which leads us into the your movie, The Unbearable Talent. What's the actual name? It's the
Oh gosh, it's such a long name. The Unbearable Weight of a Massive
Yes,
Talent.
The Unbearable Weight of a Massive Talent. So that's the first one. And so before we get into the movie, great reviews, right? So it's fairly new as well, comparatively, if you're going to go back through
Right.
Cage's career. But great reviews, and I was surprised it got good critic and audience reviews. And so I hadn't seen it before, so when I pulled it up to watch it and I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, what in the hell did Derek pick?
Well, at first I was a little bit, yes, I will say at first I was a little bit worried about, what we were going with here. So
Have I steered you wrong on movies yet, Steve? Come
no,
on.
no, this you've picked some good ones. And this, I'll tell you, and I'll let you get more into an in-depth review, but if people have not seen this movie, it's more than worth the watch. It keeps you interested the whole movie. Um, it really kind of gets you into the story too, where sometimes it's action, maybe it's drama, things like that. You're really interested in the storyline when you don't know um with what's his name,
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal, you don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy at some point in the movie. That's what really keeps you interested, right? You're like, well, how's that going to play out? The storyline's well done from the beginning because you don't really know. For me, I didn't even make the connection from the first scene to the kidnapping. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Now I remember that. So that
They
was
tell
kind of
you the
weird.
whole movie
That's what I
early
mean.
on.
I didn't even make the connection at first. So that was interesting. The friendship and then the development of the movie throughout. And then of course there's the Nicolas Cage side where he's not just an actor playing a role, he's playing himself. And that really makes it very interesting to me. So those are some of the things I liked about it, but it's your movie. You give us the overview.
Well, I love on IMDb, and they give the well, what is it? This has buddy comedy, satire, spy movie, action, comedy, crime, thriller, all in one.
Fits them all.
And what I loved about this is, and I love all these types of movies where people know who they are and they can make fun of themselves. And like you said earlier, oh gosh, Nicolas Cage has done 101 movies. And in this, he talks basically, he's like, oh, I look at this as, that's my career, and this is, I just want to make movies. And there are lots of movies that are not very good. And he even goes into it in this and making fun of himself. And like, I just love the part where he's like, they go down into the, his little museum area, and you got the horrible looking Nicolas Cage mannequin from Face Off with the guns. And he's like, Nicolas Cage is like, that's horrendous. And he's like, I'll give you 10 million.
Well, he's like, how much you pay for it? And
Yeah,
he like triples it or whatever.
yeah. And then the whole thing is also, it's like, I love about it's, Nicolas Cage, and then all of a sudden he's helping the CIA, and it's just very ridiculous, but at the same time, kind of believable. Like and then the whole meta part of he's talking, and they're going over like making a movie, and then that movie plays out in this movie.
Well, yeah, the end, it's the perfect ending because it transitions from the story to the movie,
Right.
which is the movie of the story, right?
Yeah. Like it pulled was a gold member, right? And then
Right,
you got, like Demi Moore playing his wife or
right.
ex-wife, and
Yeah, the one of the things when they're talking about the movies too, and that also plays in the first part. The kidnapping is very interesting. It's a big part of the movie in the first part, but they're also watching Nick Cage
Nicholas.
movie, right? And then later, after they rescue her, she's like, "It's Nick Cage. That's so awesome." But also, it also kind of gives you the idea because now Pascal's character, he loves Nick Cage, and that girl loves Nick Cage, and it kind of shows you how great of an actor he was in the good movies that he did.
Yes.
Yeah, he did 100, but he also done a lot of good ones. And the self realization he goes throughout the movie, where you would imagine he's probably at right now in real life, right? You've done all these really great movies, but now you're just an older version of Nick Cage.
Right. And you're not getting the roles that you
Right.
want anymore.
Or the calls for the roles, or, what you would be perfect for, they're going to screen it or they're going to cast it for someone younger or more hot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that realization he goes through that is pretty great. And I do love NPH as the his agent.
Yeah.
Dude, Neil Patrick Harris to me is one of the best actors out there. He's so good. He can play any role, anytime, and he does a great job in that movie too. Although Pedro Pascal, man, I didn't realize how good of an actor he was until I saw this movie. I think he plays a better role, does better job with his role than Nicolas Cage does.
Yeah.
He really makes the movie.
And then you got the meme out there of Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal when they're high on
Oh
like
man. I mean, if you can't tell me that those guys didn't play that role perfectly, like they've done that before, they've obviously done that before. So that, I mean, it was great. Like it's a movie I'd recommend. First time I saw it, I watch it again, and yeah, man, you just need to watch Paddington too.
yes, one of the three greatest movies of all time.
I love that part of the because I mean that's what we do, right? We're like, what's the best movies ever, right? We do, and then Paddington too. Love
Yeah,
how they tied that in.
what Nick Cage
Even
movie did he pick? I forgot.
we're gonna talk about a movie also because remember he goes into the museum or what do you want to call it?
And yes.
It's an elegant string of pearls, right? One of the
Hmm.
first thing he goes into when he sees that. And so there was so many iconic Nick Cage movies. Obviously, Gone in 60 Seconds. They reference that. They reference so many movies throughout
Face
the
Off,
right.
Con Air.
Con Air. I mean, Con Air. They actually are playing in the
Hmm.
while they're watching it, and then they have the bunny in
Yeah,
the little. It's not a museum. It's more like a
the Shrine.
shrine.
Well, it's his museum. I mean, it
Yeah.
had like counters and all the memorabilia and stuff.
Right. So that was great. That was a good pick. So we'll go to the second movie. We'll go mine here. So I chose The Rock, which is for me, it's iconic. Nick Cage. So what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I mean, this one we've probably seen a million times. It was when like Michael Bay was good also,
When Michael Bay was good.
and it wasn't like super like let's do tons of special effects. I mean, you have Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery, Ed Harris.
The cast is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if you get into all the military people in it too, like you can name tons of other military people, like, John C. McGillney's in it, and Tony Todd, and, Michael Biehn,
Right. Michael Biehn's great.
William Forsythe. I mean, there's tons of you. And like, it's the great story because it's Nicolas Cage movie, but it's more of a vehicle for Sean Connery.
Yeah, and Ed Harris.
Yeah. And Ed Harris. Yes. Ed Harris is the pseudo villain. Sean Connery is he's a British Secret Service agent who escaped from Alcatraz and now has been locked up for since then with no jurisprudence. And they need him to get them back into Alcatraz. And then, yeah, even Nicolas Cage is believable as a chemical expert, a chemical weapons expert. It's an easy to watch movie because it's a popcorn movie, but it's also got, Sean Connery in it.
Right. Well, it's got enough action. Like there's
Yeah.
tons of action throughout it, but there's storyline, right? There's a little bit of a cliffhanger, like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's also like Nick Cage actually kind of plays the middleman of
Yes. He's the straight man.
the real hero, which is Sean Connery, and the real bad guy, which is Ed Harris. Nicholas Cage kind of plays the middleman, right?
Well,
He wouldn't be
technically,
what
Ed
you'd
Harris
call
isn't even a bad. Like, technically, if I'm watching this, I feel bad for Ed Harris.
right. Well, yeah, and
It's
well,
usually it's the U.S. government that's
oh
the
right,
real
because
villain.
it's the storyline is what gets you on this, right?
Yeah.
Because how do you call the bad guy a guy who's fighting for the rights of his troops and the guys who served under him to get their real military
Benefit.
burials and money and things that they deserved that they were denied because of black ops operations, right? But when they start, so the storyline's so deep is why I love this movie, right? When they start, you got the FBI involved, right? You get the Pentagon involved. Now you have the Marines, and then you got the Ed Harris playing one of the greatest decorated generals ever. And you're talking about stuff like the Red Sea Trading Company or whatever they call it. I think that's what they call it, which is a slush fund from Pentagon illegal arms sales. And you're like, tell me that's not a thing.
Right.
So then it throws that conspiracy stuff into your mind, and you're like, is the Pentagon selling illegal arms in a slush fund? But they put
Wasn't
it
that
inside the
Iran
story,
Contra?
right? And then then you get to learn about stuff like VX gas, which most people don't know about, and how chemical warfare works, and so those are all cool things to me about this movie because it kind of opens your eyes to things that are out there in the world that probably the average person doesn't know. But then it's also a very cool story of Nicolas Cage going there and disarming the rockets and working with Sean Connery, and Sean Connery just kills this movie. Like this is one of my favorite Sean Connery movies.
Yeah.
When he goes down, and this is one of the best scenes, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but when he goes down and they're like, how are you gonna get through here? And he's like, through there. And this is another one where it's like a guy you don't expect to be in the movie, or because he's such a small role, which is what's his name? John Leguizamo, right?
No, John Leguizamo's not in it.
Who's the guy that's fall? It's one of those guys.
Um, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but he's just more. He was in like Crimson Tide and
Right. He's in a
yeah.
lot of military movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see him all the time. He reminds me of John Leguizamo. I mean, you're
Right.
probably right. It's not him, but
Yeah, it was gosh, I want to say why do I think like it's Danucci or something like that? Let's see here.
so anyway, while you're looking that up, it's one of the best parts of the movie. And he's like, I'm gonna go through this, and it's
I'm
this
not following him.
like rolling thing where it's like fires coming down and like things going through, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going through there.
Yeah, Danny Nucci.
He's like, how did you remember? And he's like, well, I memorized the timing, and I hope it
Yeah.
hasn't changed in 30 years.
Yeah, he was in Titanic. He must have been one of I've never I've never seen Titanic, but he must have been Leo's buddy in Titanic.
Yes, he was. He was the guy that played poker with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I mean that's the great part about Sean Connery in the movie though is the things he does, and the way he is as the what like you said, he was an imprisoned MI6 whatever. And then at the end of the movie, like they talk about how he's got all the secrets of the FBI, which again, that's the conspiracy part that I love about this movie.
Yeah. Like, do you want to know who killed JFK?
Right. So just a great movie, top bottom. I think they did a really good job of casting this movie with all the right people
Yeah.
and really, capturing what it looks like, to be in the military, to have to do something like this. Because, like, the incursion of Alcatraz by the Navy SEALs, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, the the problem, like when you're watching this and you're like, you guys are idiots because it's like, hello, who's taking over Alcatraz? Everyone that knows what you're doing,
Right. Yeah, like you're going to sneak up on them, right?
right? And then even they're like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah, so I mean, again, one of my favorite Nick Cage movies, had to put it in there. I mean, there's a lot of them, but I think this is watchable by anybody. All right, so let's get to the last one here. So we don't have Wes here for this one, but he picked Bangkok Dangerous, which I have also not seen before.
I have not seen either.
Had you not seen this before either?
No, I've heard of it and I've just never watched it.
Well, I mean, what was your first take?
I liked the premise, is he's a assassin for hire, and he goes from town to town, and he always hires someone to be his runner for him. And although and then basically in each town, then he kills his runner so no one knows who he is. And then in this one, though, he goes to Bangkok and he starts to develop camaraderie feelings for his runner and then feelings for a girl that works in the pharmacy. And so he goes from someone who is non-caring and stone cold killer to someone who has a conscience and all that. And so it kind of goes from that, and then, insanity ensues.
I mean, it's a tale as old of time, right? It's Beauty and the
Yeah,
Beast. It's like, why wouldn't a assassin fall in love with a random Asian girl in Bangkok?
that's death.
That
That
was
he
the
can't
hard
really
part.
communicate with either. He
I
can't
know.
talk.
That was the hard part of the movie for me is I really liked the way the movie was going at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is a cool movie. It's a cool premise. You have the assassin and then how he sets it up. And then you're like, oh, great. Now he goes to Bangkok and now he's got to set up a new person that he's going to do his running for him. And you know what's going to happen. And then it starts that change of you're just like, you've been an assassin your whole life. And now you're ready to like have a relationship with this girl from Bangkok you can't speak to.
Yeah.
So that was a little weird for me.
Well, again, and not to nitpick, but the thing that really irritated me is when he starts teaching Kong like his kung fu moves, like he's Miyagi or whatever. And we're in like Karate Kid, Miyagi has him like paint like all day for muscle memory. And
Right.
this it's like 2 minutes, he's like
Right.
and learns it. And so that was like, I'm like, really, dude? Come on.
Well, and it's like, come on, how much kung fu does Nicolas Cage really know?
But it's like, how is his muscle memory that fast remembered everything?
Right.
So
Overall, I mean, it wasn't a horrible movie. I liked the movie um
it was a good
because
premise, but it was low budget and
right.
like this, yeah, the script needed fine tuning.
Yeah, that's the thing is the premise was very good, right? I think it was a well written probably at the beginning. It was probably a hard movie to make in the sense of
I think it's got to be a remake.
it is a remake.
It's a Japanese remake,
It's a
right?
Japanese
To
remake, yeah.
American.
So the original one was like a 1999 Japanese movie. And so, yeah, I mean, is it worth the watch? Probably. It's not going to be the best Nicolas Cage movie you've ever seen. I though, like I said, I love some of the parts of it, especially the assassination parts and like
Yeah.
how he has to put together the plans to do the different things. That's a cool part of the movie to me. It's like how he sets up each assassination and how he goes through each of those. Like that's pretty cool. It really lost me, with the change of heart, I guess,
Yeah.
from the assassin.
Especially look at the whole, also the stereotype was this is my last job.
Right. It's my last jobs. My last four jobs.
Yeah.
He's just gonna do four and one and finish it off in Bangkok, right? What did you think of like Cage's acting in it? Like how does that compare to some of his other movies?
I mean, it's funny. It was more wooden. I think he's more like because he's supposed to be more stone cold, which he
Right.
was kind of. There was no wildness to his, in every like movie we know, Nicolas Cage is a little bit of like, ooh.
Right.
This one is more subdued.
Yeah, he's not the yelling I'm Nick effing Cage, right?
Yes.
He was. And the what about his look? Like with the black hair, the longer black hair.
Yeah. I wonder, were they trying to make him look Asian a little bit? I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't really wasn't impressed with that
Yeah.
look.
Well, you would think like if you're trying to be a nondescript hitman, you wouldn't have like features like long hair because
Right.
that's easily there's a dude with long hair.
Right, but he's also not seen, right? Like his
Yeah, that's
whole
true.
thing
Yeah,
is
the
is
whole
like,
time he's
yeah, you don't see him at
right. He
all.
doesn't.
And that's one of the things I liked about the movie is I thought that was well thought out when they were doing the actual assassinations. And then, obviously he played the role, but the writing was well done and how they did those.
Right. And how he never was the one to pick up
Right.
the briefcase with who he's supposed to kill. That way no one can actually ID him.
Right. Or like the very first one of the first scenes where the guy gets arrested and then he knows where he's going to be, so he's up on
Yeah.
the rooftop.
And he knows exactly when the bell's gonna go.
Right.
So he can,
Yeah, so that's the cool part of the movie. So there's a lot of cool parts in the movie. So it's not that I didn't enjoy the movie. It's just I have a hard time with the change of heart from an assassin. I mean, you're a contract killer, dude. Like,
right.
but overall, it's a good movie. It's worth the watch. And the budget was bigger than you'd think too.
Yeah.
$50 million budget. It looked a little low budget, but so movies Bangkok Dangerous, worth the watch. Check it out. It's Nicolas Cage remake, but still a pretty good movie there. Of the three, though, I'll tell you, I love The Rock, and you should see The Rock. But if you haven't seen the first movie, which is the longest movie
Unbearable
title
weight of a
ever,
massive talent.
The Incredible Weight of a Massive Talent, longest movie title ever. You should definitely that would be my pick for this week for the audience. You got to check that out. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there with our weekly movie review, and we'll get back to you next week with more movies. Don't forget subscribe and like. But if you have movie review ideas uh, coming in the summertime, sports are slowing down. We're gonna do a lot more movie stuff. So happy to hear any comments. And this will probably catch you in a short because you're still not listening after this point. So here's a short I'm going to pull out. If you have any movies you'd like us to review, please let us know. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there for the night. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.